गुरुस्तोत्रम्। अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। स्थावरं जङ्गमं व्याप्तं यत्किञ्चित् सचराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। चिन्मयं व्यापि यत्सर्वं त्रैलोक्यं सचराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। सर्वश्रुतिशिरोरत्न विराजितपदाम्बुजः वेदान्ताम्बुजसूर्यो यः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। चैतन्यः शाश्वतः शान्तः व्योमातीतो निरञ्जनः बिन्दुनादकलातीतः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ज्ञानशक्तिसमारूढः तत्त्वमाला विभूषितः भुक्तिमुक्तिप्रदाता च तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः।
तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः।
अनेक जन्म संप्राप्त कर्म बंध विदाहिने आत्मज्ञान प्रदानेन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। शोषणं भवसिन्धोश्च ज्ञापनं सारसम्पदः गुरोः पादोदकं सम्यक् तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। न गुरोरधिकं तत्त्वं न गुरोरधिकं तपः तत्त्वज्ञानात् परं नास्ति तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। मन्नाथ श्री जगन्नाथः मद्गुरु श्री जगद्गुरुः मदात्मा सर्वभूतात्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। गुरुरादिरनादिश्च गुरुः परमदैवतम् गुरोः परतरं नास्ति तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देवदेव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देवदेव ब्रह्मानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिम् द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम्।
सहनावतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये। चैतन्यं सर्वगं सर्वं सर्वभूतगुहाशयं यत्सर्वविषयातीतं तस्मै सर्वविदे नमः। एवं च अपोहवादे खंडागौः नीलमुत्पलम इत्यादि विशिष्ट व्यवहार असिद्धि। Therefore, if you want to transact, carry out the day-to-day transactions, where भेद्य भेदकयोः भेद असिद्धेः, भेद्य that which is distinguished, bhedaka that which distinguishes, bhedya that which is distinguished. Like khanda gauhu, gauhu is the bhedya, khanda bhedaka, so broken horn, so that's a visheshanam, bhedaka distinguishes, and cow is what is distinguished. Neelam utpalam, blue lotus, blue is the bhedaka, utpalam is bhedyam. So bhedya, bhedaka, vyavahara. This is all the vyavahara is carried out to distinguish one entity from the other. So bring a pot, bring a cloth, etc. Iyam gauhu iti ityadi asana sarva vyavahara asiddhischa, and this is a cow. So whether a special cow such as cow with broken horns, a special lotus such as a blue lotus, or this is a cow, this cannot be if the vyavahara or description is meant on negation, apohavadha. Namajatyadayo yadvat samidaste visheshatah pratyaksham anumanam va vyavahare dicchasi. Te tavamate samvidah avisheshatah nirvisheshatah tvat. Samvid or consciousness is nirvishesha, without any state, without any attribute or distinction. Namajatyadayo yadvat na visheshanam. So name, species cannot be visheshanam of samvid, of knowledge. Knowledge is nirvisheshanam. Evam gavadinam agavadi vyavruttah. If samvid is no visheshan at all, then agavadi, that which is not cow, that also cannot become visheshan or distinguish that samvid. khanda, dayava, or with a broken horn, etc. So Samved is nirvishesha, therefore it cannot have visheshanam. Vishishta vyavahara lopaha. So how will you do vyavahara? Because in vyavahara we are always required to identify people or entities, distinguish them one from the other. Then you can say, do this with this one, bring this, take that, etc. In short, all of vyavahara or transaction always involves visheshata, where you want something to be done with something. And if you cannot distinguish, then jivanavi durlabham te bhavaha. Life itself will become impossible for you because you will not know how to communicate. Yaduktam bhutiriyesha kriya saiva iti atra samvidah kriyakaraka bheda apeksha nasti. In bhuti or the knowledge also, in consciousness, there is no bheda of kriya, karaka. Kartru, kriya, karaka, perceiver, perceived, perception, that kind of distinction cannot be in knowledge. Tat pratyaksham anumanam vid pramanadva abhyugat. Then, even your vyavahara, that you accept pratyaksham, perception, which is sense perception, anumanam, which is inference, that also cannot be accomplished. If you do not accept this kind of distinction in your knowledge, knowledge has to be distinguished like a knower, known, knowing. And knowing also will be distinguished by the object of knowledge. If those distinctions are not there, then how will you put the perception? What do you perceive? You perceive a flower, so you perceive a distinction of an entity. Or you infer. So perception, inference, all vyavahara requires the identifying something with its own attributes or distinction. But according to you, the knowledge, so our knowledge is part knowledge, cloth knowledge, this knowledge is qualified, distinguished. If knowledge has no distinction, then how will you say this is perception of pot, and perception of cloth, and perception of chair? So kriya karga bhedai tad abhyavagayam bhruvam bhavet tasma nilam tatha pitam ghatadirva visheshanam. Kriya karga bhedai tad abhyupayam dhruvam bhavet. And therefore you have to accept that knowledge has to have distinction of kriya karaka. Then nilam, pitam, ghatadi, etc. visheshanam must be there, then only vyavahara is possible. O pratyaksham anumanam va vyavahare yadichasi. If you want pratyaksha, perception, anumanam, then kriya karga vedis tad abhyupayam dhruvam bhaved, then you distinguish that this is a pot and this is a cloth and this is a man and this is this. So knowledge must be distinguished. Then that which creates the distinction, that karaka also must be distinguished, kriya, karaka. All that distinctions have to be created, then only perception can take place, inference can take place. Tathacha samvid anadrikta vedya swarupa anicchata. That all you accept is samvid and don't accept a knower known other than samvid. Abhyupayamiti. So Vedya Vedatva Swarupam Anichchata, even if you don't want, you have to accept it. Tasma Nilam Tathapitam Ghatadirva Visheshanam Samvidah Tadupeyam Syad Yena Chapyanubhuyate. Therefore, samvid, the knowledge has to have distinction. Nilam, Pitam, Ghatadihi. That's how perception of different entities takes place, and therefore you have to accept distinction of knowledge of blue from knowledge of green, from knowledge of pot, from knowledge of cloth. and knower of green, knower of pot, knower of cloth, and knowing of green, so knowing of pot. This knowledge, knower, knowing, known, all these things are distinct, and then only vyavahara, then perception is possible, inference is possible. And therefore you who accepts apohavada, that you can describe something only by negating what it is not, you will be able to accomplish nothing. Iti bauddhamatam nirakaram upasamharati. Then continuing now with verse 152. Samvit sakshini anumanam pramanamaha. Samvit consciousness, sakshini, samvit sakshini, samvitaha sakshini, the witness of samvit or knowledge. Anumanam pramanamaha, that there must be a witness of knowledge also. Ghatagyanam, patagyanam, mathagyanam. To say that one kind of knowledge or cognition of pot is different from the cognition of cloth, etc. There must be someone to know that distinction. You say this is cognition of pot, ghatagyanam, patagyanam, cognition of cloth. There must be somewhere that distinction must be noted. So this pot cognition, cloth cognition is called samvit or cognition. Sakshini, in order to know that there are distinct knowledges, there must be a witness. For the anumanam pramanamaha. So verse 152 says, Rupadinam yathanyasya bahyetvad what is it? Grahyetvad grahakastatha pratyayasya tatha cha tat pratyayasya tathanyasya vinjagatvad pradipavata. यथा रूपादीनाम अन्यः ग्राह्यत्वाद् यथा रूपादीनाम अन्यः ग्राहकः. Rupa means color or form. So color or form is something grahya, that is perceived. So there must be a perceiver. So the perceiver anya, different perceiver, different from the perceived must be there for ghata pata etc. Tatha pratyasya. See, now we have the ghata, then we have the ghata drashta, then there is ghata pratyaya or cognition of ghata. Tatha pratyasya, even of that ghatakara vritti also, there must be a knower or eliminator. Tatha anyasyad vinjagatvat pradipavata, because that ghatakara vritti also is known to you. So there is some illuminator of that also. Illuminator different from what is illuminated. So this is anumanam, pramanam. For accepting that there must be a witness. So Tika says, Yad grahyam tat so anya grahyam yatha bhavati yatha rupadi. So yatha rupadi, just as color or form, which is perceived, must have a perceiver different from it. So anyat grahyam, that this pot, for example, which is perceived, must be perceived by someone other than the pot. That perceiver of the pot must be different from the pot. Then how about the ghatakara vritti? Then also is perceived. Grahya cha samviditi, bauddham pati prayogo hai yojya hai. And samvit also is grahya. And therefore there must be witness of that. So Samvit Sakshi is Sakshi of the Samvit, Sakshi of the knowledge also must be there. So Ghatakara Vritti is the knowledge, then there must be Sakshi because that Vritti also is known. Iti Bauddham Prati Prayoga Yojya. That Bauddha needs to be told that even Samvit also has to be illumined. Samvit means the Vrittis, Pratyas. तथा अवभासकः अवभास्यात् अन्यः व्यञ्जकत्वात् घटादेः प्रदीयते आस्तिकान् प्रति प्रयोक्तव्यम्. तथा similarly अवभासकः अवभास्यात् अन्यः. अवभासकः, the illuminator. Avasya, illumined. So illuminator must be different from the illumined. Vyanjakatvat. Why do you say that? Because what is illumined, such as a thought, cannot reveal itself. The fact that the thought reveals itself means that there must be something that reveals that, and therefore Vyanjakatvat. So it is avabhasaka. The illuminator is the one that illumines or reveals the entity. A thought is revealed by the drashta or the witness. A part is revealed by the eyes, is revealed by the perceiver. And so the perceiver reveals must be different from what is perceived that is revealed. Iti astikan prati prayoktavayam. Astika means those who accept that asti, these entities are, and they have their own distinctions. And that's how it is a distinction that enables us to know them separately, otherwise not. So that there is an illuminator, and illumined, that consciousness, Samvit also is illumined, Ghatakara Vritti, that's Astika. If Ghatakara Vritti is not illumined, then you have to say that, well, anyway, as long as Ghatakara Vritti is known, there must be a knower. So that way, Yat Grahyam Tatsva Anya Grahyam. Not much different, but anyway, this is the argument or this is reasoning for Bauddha, other is reasoning for the rest. Yatha Rupadyanam Grahyattvat Grahakanyasya. It has become so simple now from the complicated discussion, by the way. So you might think, this is very simple, day-to-day stuff. Yatha Rupadyanam Grahyattvat. Because colors, forms, etc. are all perceived, Tad Grahaka Anya Syat, the perceiver must be different. Tatha. So just as the part that is perceived must have a perceiver different from part, tatha similarly, pratyasya grahyatvat, so part thought also is perceived. Therefore, there must be also a perceiver or illuminator of the part thought. Tatha grahakasya grahyat anyasyat, so perceiver also has to be different from what is perceived. Perception is different from what is perceived. And so the part cognition is different from part. An illuminator part cognition is different from that. And that illuminator subject is again different. So therefore these distinctions of the knower, known and knowing must be there. Where the knower illumines the knowledge and knowledge illumines the object of knowledge. Where knower himself is illumined by the consciousness. So being illumined by consciousness, the knower drashta illumines the thought, and that in turn illumines the object. This is the vyavastha. Kastari pratyaksha adhyakshayoho sambandha. You come back to the basics. So what is the sambandha? What's the relationship between pratyaya, cognition, like ghatakara vritti, etc., and adhyaksha, the sakshi? What is the sambandha? Ida Pekshama, next one says Adhyakshasya drushe kridrika Sambandha sambhavishyate Adhyakshena tu drishyena Muktvanyo drashtu drishyataam. Adhyakshasya drushehe kiduk sambhavishyate. So drushi, the sixth case is of that is drushehe. So drushi means seeing, perception. Adhyaksha means the witness. So what sambandha relationship can be there between witness and witnessing? Adhyakshena tu drishyena muktva anyo. So drashtu drishyatam. Sambandha is a seer-seen relationship. Adhyakshena tu drishyena. Adhyaksha understand witness. Adhyakshya, what is witnessed? So, witnessed such as a part, which is always different from the perceiver. So, perceiver, perceive, witness relations will be there. Also between the witness and the thought. Just as an object, like a part, is object of perception, therefore perceiver is different from that. Part thought also is an object of perception. Therefore, there must be a perceiver of the part thought also. So, there is sambandha. Between part and knower, the part is one of knower known. So, also sambandha between part thought and sakshi also is the same as knower known. Adhyaksha, adhyakshya or sakshi, sakshya. So, टीका से दृष्ट दृश्य संबंधा अभ्युगमे बलात् आभासः अभ्युगन्तव्यः इति दर्शयितुम्. Now, drashtu drishya sambandha abhyugame. The drashta, who is a conscious being, drishya, that is achetana or unconscious. Sambandha, if you want to establish a relationship between the perceiver or the conscious entity and this entity that is perceived, which is unconscious, balat avasa abhivagantavya, you must admit something that illumines the objects. Because this object, such as the ghata, is achetanam, therefore must be illumined. Now, consciousness cannot directly illumine. Therefore, consciousness illumines through chidavasa, reflection. This was discussed earlier, that consciousness enjoys the paramadik satta. The ghatapada enjoys vyavaharik satta. So therefore consciousness must also as to come down to the vyavaharik satta to be able to interact with this. And therefore this chidabhasa. Chit is consciousness, abhasa reflection. Reflection is of vyavaharik satta. And ghatapada also vyavaharik. Therefore chidabhasa can illumine ghatapada. Chit cannot, but chidabhasa can. Drashtu drishya sambandha abhivagame. If you say that the adhyaksha, sakshi, witness is drashta, and the part is drishya, then what connects them? Balat abhasa abhivagantavya. So consciousness or witness cannot directly illumine the part, therefore another agency must be there, and that is the chidabhasa. In darshayana vikalpayati adhyakshena iti. So verse 154 says, so where are we? Adhyakshasya. So did we not read that verse? Anyway, adhyakshasya drushe kidraka sambandha sambhavishyate adhyakshena drushyena muktvanyo drashtu drushyataam. अध्यक्षेण कृता दृष्टिः दृश्यं व्याप्नोत्यथा दृश्यं व्याप्नोत्यथापि वा नित्याध्यक्षकृतः कश्चित् उपकारो भवेद्धिया अध्यक्षेण तो दृश्येन सध्यक्ष which is illumined witness which is दृश्यम दृष्टु दृश्यताम संबंधम मुक्त्वा संबंध मुक्त्वा. Other than this here seen, what the relation can there be between the witness and the object that is witnessed? Then दृष्टु दृश्य संबंध अभिव्यग में बलात् आभास अभिव्यगंतव्य. If you say the relation between the witness and witnessed, then you must bring an agency such as the Chidabhasa. Iti darshayitum vikalpayati. To show that Chidabhasa is required to establish relationship between the two, which enjoy different levels of reality. Adhyakshena tutushyena मुक्त्वा अन्यो दृश्य दृश्यताम अध्यक्षेण कृता दृष्टि दृश्यम व्याप्नोति अन्यथा विवा. So question is there. अध्यक्षेण कृता दृष्टि, third line, दृश्यम व्याप्नोति अथा विवा or not. So अध्यक्षे means that which is illumined, साक्ष्य. अध्यक्ष means साक्षी. So अध्यक्षेण कृता दृष्टि So that is the first question. अध्यक्षेण प्रत्ययेन दृशेः आत्मनः कीदृक् सम्बन्धो भविष्यति. First line. अध्यक्षस्य दृशेः कीदृक् सम्बन्धः सम्भविष्यति. So Drushe Atma, what relationship Atma can have with an entity such as a part? Paramarthiko va, aparmarthiko va. Is there Sandesh relation paramarthika, a real relationship enjoying same degree of reality, aparmarthiko va, or as though relationship, through the agency of Chidabhasa? Iti vimarshartha. So, first line, Adhyakshasya drushe kidruk sambandha sambhavishyati is a question. Is it paramarthika drishti or a paramarthika drishti? Iti. Then the Tika says, Tatra adya drushe parinamadi vikara prapti prasangat. If Adhyaksha is a real witness in the real sense, and it illumines the object, in that case both of them have to be the same degree of reality. In that case, when change takes place in what is witnessed, the witness also undergoes the sympathetic change. I'm the witness of a part, then I become part witness. When object of witness changes, cloth, I become cloth witness. So therefore, if the relationship is a paramarthik, a real relationship is there, then the witness also undergoes a sympathetic change in keeping with the change in the object. In that case, parinamadi vikara prasangat, in that case, the witness also keeps on changing. If it is a real witness, savadhyayati nindaniya, that if you accept change in this consciousness, there is nindaniyayati dvitiyam angikaroti. Therefore, there cannot be a paramarthika, a real relationship between the consciousness witness and the object witness. So 154 second line says, Nityadyakshu krita kaschit upakaro bhavedhyam. So the sun cannot directly do something. The sun gets reflected in the water. The reflection in turn illumines the hall or something like that. So that is called upakara. So also nitya adhyaksha krita kaschit upakaro bhavedhyam. Adhyaksha is nitya, witness. Since that witness cannot directly be the witness in a primary sense, therefore some upakara, some change, something which is conducive for this relation to take place, has to happen, and that is the reflection. Kosa upakara, all right. So unless some change happens, unless some intermediate factor comes, the consciousness cannot directly limit ghatapata, because consciousness is paramadika satta, ghatapata is vyavaharik satta, there cannot be a real contact between them. So some upakara must be there, some intermediate factor must be there, which can bring about that vyavahara. Kosa upakara? What is that upakara? If that's the question, the answer is given in the next one. Sachoktastan prag samvyaptischa ghatadishu yatha lokadi samvyaptihi vyanjakatvadhiyastatha. So discussion was derailed because of all these Bauddha, etc. So discussion has to be brought to the rail. So it is brought back to our context, and then it will be further explored. So in case it has gone out of our mind, this is all brought to our mind again. Sacha ukta, that upakara that we already told, tan nibatvam, an entity similar to that, shining like that, is created, appears like the Chidabhasa. Samvyaptischa ghatadishu. And then it is that Chidabhasa that illumines ghatapata, etc. So this is a prakriya that Vedantin has. That the mind goes out through our sense organs, eyes, and contacts an object such as a ghata. Then ghatakar vritti takes place. And there is a avasa, reflection in that ghatakar vritti. So Vedanta explains that the vritti removes the veil of ignorance and the reflected consciousness illumines the object. That's how the perception is explained. So Sacha Ukta, we already said this. Nitya adhyakshakrito buddhi upakaraha. So this nitya adhyaksha, the consciousness that is eternal, changeless, it brings about some change in the buddhi, or it imparts some additional capacity to buddhi, upakara. Tan nibatvam, chin nibatvam, that an entity similar to consciousness, which is Chidabhasa, is created, meaning that buddhi now gets endowed with Chidabhasa. That's how the buddhi is enlivened. Consciousness directly cannot enliven the buddhi. Therefore, consciousness gets reflected in buddhi, which is Chidabhasa, and that's what enlivens the buddhi. So that is called upakara. Now, buddhi also has gained the capacity to illumine. Consciousness imparts to buddhi the capacity to illumine by so-called Chidabhasa or reflection in buddhi. Prag cha uktam, sacha uktam prag. So purvameva mukha pratibimba drishtanta ukta ityartha. So by the drishtanta of the face and the reflection in the mirror, this is explained. that it is a reflected consciousness. That is what upakara, that imparts the buddhi, the enlivenment, the consciousness as though. Yatha alokadi samvyapti vyঞ্জকत्वाद् तथा घटादिषु. So घटादिषु यथा आलोकादि संव्याप्ति. Just aloka means prakasha. Ghatadishu samvyapti, just as sunlight or this light envelops this ghata, pata, whatever object is there. Similarly also, the light of Chidabhasa, so illumines, envelops this ghata, that's how ghata is illumined and that's how it is known. So illumination by sunlight is one kind of illumination. That is for the eyes, benefit of the eyes. But illumined by Chidabhasa is a different kind of illumination for the buddhi to know this. You follow? So ukta avasa dvara atmanah दृश्य बाह्य विषय संबंधम वक्तुम. उक्त आभास द्वारा, through that चिदाभास, आत्मन दृश्य बाह्य विषय संबंधम. Chidabhasa establishes a link between Chit and Ghata. So Chit cannot be directly related to Ghata. So Chit through Chidabhasa as though gets related to Ghata, pervades the Ghata, eliminates the Ghata. That is Sambandha Bhaktum. Sabhasayaha buddhe vishavyaptim. It's not consciousness that directly eliminates the Ghata. It is the Chidabhasa, reflected consciousness, that eliminates the Ghata. So Drishtantamaha. Samvyaptisya yatha ghatadishu. So there is the Drishtanta. Yatha alokadi samvyapti. Just as the sunlight pervades eliminated parts, also the Chidabhasa eliminated part. Sunlight eliminates the part to make it only perceptible to the eyes. But Chidabhasa eliminates the part to make it perceptible to the Sakshi, to the self. Again, Uktameva Sphutayati is clarified further. Alokastho ghato yadvata buddhyarudho bhavet tatha divyapti syad ghataroha diyo vyaptau kramo bhavet. Alokastho ghato yadvat buddhyarudho bhavet. Like a pot which is a sunlight. That sunlight is only for making it perceptible to eyes. Otherwise sunlight has no other role to play as far as consciousness is concerned. But merely ghata cannot be perceived. Alokastha ghata. Ghata was the part that is in the sunlight, meaning illumined by sunlight. Yad buddhyarudho bhavet. So how is that ghata? How does it become the object of perception? Yatha dhi vyapti syat ghataroha dhiyo vyaptau kramo bhavet. So dhi vyapti syat ghataroha. So buddhi pervades this ghata. Dhiyo vyaptau kramo bhavet. And then the consciousness also. So first the buddhi illumines the ghata, and the consciousness reflects the buddhi illumines the ghata. So krama, that kind of a krama or sequence is accepted in perception, because something can happen, and that is why we have the vritti vyapti and phala vyapti. What is vritti vyapti? That the vritti, ghatakar vritti, pervades the ghata. Vedanta says that eliminates the avaranam. And the Chidavasa reflected in vritti illumines the ghata. So that is the vikshepa removal. Oh, that's avaranam and removal of avaranam and removal of the what shall I say? Elimination. So first avarana must be removed and then ghata must be eliminated. There is a krama. That first avarana of the ghata is removed by ghatakar vritti and ghata is eliminated by the consciousness reflected in that vritti. So kramo bhave. That krama may not be in case of atma because atma is self-evident. Therefore, the vritti vyapti is not necessary. But otherwise, for all inert objects, vritti vyapti and phala vyapti, both vyaptis are there. For self atma, phala vyapti is not necessary. So Tika says, Yadvat means yatha aloka nivishto ghata alokarudho bhavet. Just as a pot placed in sunlight becomes illumined by sunlight, pervaded by sunlight. Tatha buddhi nivishto ghataha buddhyarudho bhavet. So also ghata must come in the range of buddhi. How does that happen? When the buddhi goes out through the eyes and contacts ghata, then the ghata comes in the range of buddhi. First ghata must come in the range of sunlight. And then that ghata illumined by sunlight must come into range of buddhi, that buddhi should illumine that. Arudha ityukte purushashvayo upari upari adhabhava. That's the arudha means doesn't that it climbs, Says di vyaptasya, means it's just pervading, So therefore, di vyapti syat, meaning that the buddhi pervades that. When you say buddhi becomes, climbs or, it means it pervades. Evam vishaya vyapti matrameva dhyaya vishaya vinjakatvam ta atmana buddhisya ko vishesha. If buddhi alone is enough to illumine that object, then what is the atmana buddhi? What is the now special role played by atma and buddhi? Says dhiyo vyapto kramo bhaved. There is an order in which this happens, that first of all the buddhi is pervaded by the atma, and that which chidavasa, and that buddhi which chidavasa then illumines the ghata. Because consciousness does not directly illumine the ghata, so consciousness first illumines buddhi through the chidavasa, and that then illumines the ghata. So that is the krama. Dhyo vishaya-vyapto kramo bhavet na atmana. So this krama is in buddhi. The krama is not an atma. First buddhi is illumined, then buddhi illumines the ghata. So that krama or sequence is buddhi. Not that atma is illumined, then it illumines something else. Meaning that this being illumined, then illumining in turn is the buddhi. Atma always shines. So in all of this, don't think any change happens in Atma. Ghatapada is not that Atma shines in its own glory. Ghatapada comes and illumined by sunlight, whatever light, Atma shines in its own glory. Then there is Chidabhasa, buddhi gets illumined, Atma shines in its own glory. And then buddhi illumines Ghatapada. All of these do not make any change in Atma, it just is. Meaning that for the Chidabhasa to happen, no change happens in Atma. It's merely in presence of Atma that the Chidabhasa takes place in Buddhi. Not that some Vishesha happens in Atma. The so far Atma was there in its own glory, now that Buddhi is there, now Atma gets reflected in Buddhi. There was some change happens in Atma, no? Atma memory, no, nothing happens to Atma. In presence of Atma, the buddhi becomes enlivened, and then in turn illumines the object. That's the. But in all of these, no change or modification takes place in Atma. So the Tika says, Diya Vishaya-vyapto kramo bhavet. That the buddhi illumines an object, that there is a sequence. The buddhi is first illumined by Chidavasa, and then it illumines the Vishaya, Ghata, etc. Now Atmana, so there is a krama or sequence at the level of buddhi. There is no sequence at the level of Atma. That now Atma is not illumining, and now Atma illumines. Isn't there a sequence in Atma? No. Atma does not illumine also. There is no act of illumination on part of Atma. There is only being on part of Atma. Illumination is on part of buddhi. Therefore, the buddhi, not blessed by Atma, cannot illumine. And buddhi blessed by Atma, by Chidabhasa, can illumine. Whether Atma blesses or does not bless, Atma is ever the same. So, says verse 157. Purvam syat pratyaya-vyaptehi tato nugraha atmanaha krishnadhyakshasya yuktaha कालाकाशादिवत् क्रमः पूर्वं स्यात् प्रत्यय व्याप्तिः. That buddhi first pervades this part. Tato anugraha cha atmana, then the Chidavasa in that buddhi illumines the part. So there is a krama as far as illuminating the part and illumination of buddhi is concerned. Krishna Adhyakshasya no yukta. Adhyaksha, the consciousness, Krishna, which is complete, whole. In whole there cannot be a change, In limitless there cannot be change, in whole there cannot be change. Because for changing you require something other than you, same degree of reality. And whole is always one, non-dual, there is nothing to bring about any change. Kala akashavat krama na yukta. So time, there is a time when the part is not illumined, there is a time that part is illumined, there is a place that the part is not illumined, there is a place that is illumined. So this krama of kala akasha is reference to this ghatapata, not a reference to Atma. So Tikasa says, Dhiya Vishaya Vyapti Purvam Prasamam Iva Prasamam Syat. So Dhiya Vishaya Vyapti, this we know, that the buddhi goes out to the eyes and pervades the object. That's called Vishaya Vyapti, pervading of this part by buddhi. Prasamam Iva Prasamam Syat, that takes place first. Tata Vishayakaratayam Siddhayam. Then when the buddhi now has taken the form of Vishaya such as a ghata, Atman anugraha, then anugraha of Atma blesses by Chidabhasa. In that ghatakar vritti, there is Chidabhasa. Tadakare pratibimbhasa. So Chidabhasa pratibimbhasa. Tad balacha Vishaya Vyanjakatvam, and tad balacha, because of that ghata, that Chidabhasa in the buddhi vritti, Vishaya Vyanjakam. So traditionally the vritti removes the avaranam and the Chidabhasa illumines, removes. So that is how the two-step process is accepted here. The krama drashtutvam anyasheshatvam tad dhyas siddhati. So buddhi becomes drashta in krama. First buddhi just takes the form of the thought of ghata, and then illumines the ghata. So, krama drashtutvam. First buddhi becomes the drashta of just the vritti, and then becomes drashta of the ghata, if you want to call it that way. First buddhi takes the form of the ghata, then illumines the ghata. Tathana atmana, but in that process, not that atma, any change has taken place in atma. Krishna dhyakshasya no yukta kala akashadivat krama. Like in time and place, there is a krama or sequence. In atma, there is whole and complete. There cannot be sequence. So Tika says, Pratyartham parinama vedena vyanjagatvad buddheva kramo yukta. Pratyartham, artha means object. With every object, parinama vedena, so ghata is different, pata is different, matha is different. Vyanjagatvat. So buddhi's role is to illumine the distinctions, the ghatatvam, patatvam, whatever attributes the ghata pata have, that's what the buddhi illumines. Buddheva krama yukta. Therefore, the krama is in buddhi. Also, for one object to the other, buddhi cannot illumine all the objects simultaneously. Buddhi illumines one object at a time. So that krama also is in buddhi. Buddhi first takes the form of an object and then illumines the object. That krama is also there. And buddhi can illumine the objects one at a time and not simultaneously. That krama is, so kala and desha, that krama is there. Krishna dhyakshasya sarvavikshepa spritaya. But then that is adhyaksha. Krishna adhyaksha. Adhyaksha, the witness, that is complete, the whole. Or witness that witnesses everything simultaneously. The Atma illumines everything simultaneously, witnesses everything simultaneously. Then how come we don't know everything simultaneously? Because our knowledge takes place of buddhi. So we know what our buddhi illumines. Even the Atma illumines everything. Buddhi illumines part of it because buddhi requires that taking form. And then if being reflecting. So buddhi requires, that's the reason why we perceive only that object that is illumined by the buddhi. Even though Atma simultaneously illumines everything. But that does not happen to us because our perception is of the nature of the buddhi vritti, and so buddhi can take vritti, assume the vritti of one at a time. Therefore, the perception of one object at a time happens. So, Krishna adhyakshasya sarvaviksheva aspadataya. Atma is aspada, the locus of all the vikshepa, all the illumination. Sarvada, sarvatra, anugata, prakasha rupasya. There was sarvada, sarvada all the time, sarvatra at all the places. The consciousness of Atma exists at all the times, at all the places. And therefore, it is not that Atma illumines one thing at a time, it illumines everything simultaneously, but buddhi can illumine only one thing at a time. Therefore, krama is required in the buddhi. देशतः कालतः वा क्रम अभावे दृष्टान्तः अकालाकाशादिवत् क्रमः. So Atma doesn't require that krama of the kala, the time, akasha, the space, etc., as the buddhi requires. Buddhi is a limited entity. So buddhi exists at a given time, exists at a given place, and illumines only when it is blessed by the Chidabhasa, not otherwise. So buddhi, when it is sleeping, cannot illumine anything. Atma illumines, even when the buddhi is sleeping, then also Atma illumines everything. Atma doesn't go to sleep. So all these avasthas of waking and dreaming and sleep is all of the buddhi. Atma has no avastha, and therefore recognize that all the sequence and krama is in the buddhi and not in the Atma. ननु अध्यक्षस्यापि भोग्य विषय अभासकत्वात् बुद्धेरेव परिणामः प्राप्नोति. All right, ननु अध्यक्षस्यापि भोग्य विषय अभासकत्वात्. Ultimately, it is Atma that illumines an object. Bhogya Vishaya, Ghatapata, all the objects of experience. Then Buddheva Parinama Prapmati, should not Atma, the consciousness, also undergo change? Because Bhogya Vishaya Avasakatvat, Atma also illumines Ghata, illumines Pata. So when Atma illumines Ghata, should not something happen to Atma? Atma is consciousness, but consciousness illumines Ghata, then illumines Pata, then Matha. So when the object's illumination change, Bhoga Vishayas change, should not also a corresponding change take place in Atma? So Ashankya, with that Asaya, the next verse says, Vishayagrahanam yasya कारणापेक्षया भवेत् सत्येव ग्राह्यशेषे च परिणामी सचित्तवत्. यस्य विषयग्रहणं कारणापेक्षया भवेत्. Buddhi can grasp or perceive things when karana is there. When all this buddhi has taken the form of an object, and then there is Chidavasa, and Chidavasa illumines that object, so then only Vishayagrahanam or perception object can take place. So the one for whom the perception takes place with the help of all these other factors, Sati eva grahya sheshecha, and buddhi can perceive one thing at a time, and rest are unperceived, so grahya shesha. Lot of things to be perceived are there. Buddhi perceives one thing at a time. Parinami sa chittavata. So that entity is parinami, which can illumine one thing with other things not illumined. Chittavat, like the chitta, it becomes parinami. But Atma is nothing remains. Everything is illumined by Atma simultaneously. Therefore, there is no parinama in Atma. So we think that Atma illumines not only Ghata. So by illumining Ghata, shouldn't something happen to Atma? Atma illumines Pata. Then should not there some difference in Atma also? Says no. Difference in what is illumined, not in the illuminator. So Karanapeksha or Karanapeksha, Kartradi, Karakapeksha. So where Grahyam, perception requires Kartradi, Karaka. A perceiver, perceived, perception, ghatakara vritti, when all these karakas are required, and only one thing is perceived at a time, other things are not perceived, so there are rest of things unperceived, so grahya sheshe. Unperceived things remain, because buddhi can perceive one thing at a time. Swa asamsrushta vishyantar avasheshe cha sati. So therefore, buddhi, even when it sees pata, there are many things that is around, that buddhi does not see. So this is the kind of seeing where a lot of unseen things remain. Atma is a seer where nothing unseen remains because it illumines everything simultaneously. But buddhi can illumine one thing at a time, therefore grahya sheshe, meaning that there is also the residue of what is to be perceived. Swa asamsrushta vishayantara avasheshe cha sati. Because buddhi can srushta, buddhi can connect with one object such as ghata at that time, not pata, matha, etc. Yasya vishayagrahanam bhavet. So the one for whom or for which the vishayagrahanam perception of an object takes place in this way, that when it perceives one thing, other things remain unperceived. And that perception requires the karakas, it requires also perceiver, means of perception, all these samagri is required, And when one perception takes place, other things remain unperceived. So if the perception is of this nature, saparinami syat, so that is always a parinami, meaning that that's the buddhi which must take the form of the object. That's the parinami. Chittavat, like chitta or buddhi. Nevam atmana vishayavasanam, but atma does not illumine like that. Kintu nitya siddha prakasa svabhavena yugapat swadhyasta samasta vasanam. Kintu nitya siddha prakasa svabhavena atma prakasa svabhava, nature of consciousness, nitya siddha. Consciousness that is self-existing, self-shining. See, ghata, pata, buddhi, everything is there because of something else. Their siddhi always involves something else. Only nitya siddha is there, swasiddha is only atma. But that doesn't require any karakas at all for atma to do its job. No karakas required, itself sufficient to illuminate everything. Doesn't require that atma will illuminate, buddhi is there and this is there, waking is there, dream is there, some time is there, some place is there, some avastha. No avastha, time, place. Atma illumines because so illumines the nature. Nitya siddha prakasha svabhavena. Atma is the nature of nitya siddha prakasha. The light that is ever there. Yugapat swadhyasta samasta avasamanam. And Atma is the adhisthana of everything there, whereas adhisthana, it simultaneously illuminates everything that is adjust. Our knowledge requires buddhi, therefore we don't know everything simultaneously. If you are Atma, then you would know everything simultaneously. But since our knowledge takes place of buddhi, we know only what buddhi can illuminate at a given time. But Atma illumines everything that is superimposed upon that. The tasmin parinama shanka. If Atma illuminates something now and something else later, then some parinama is accepted. Atma always illumines everything all the time, all the places. So no change takes place in Atma. Only this krama, the distinctions are there in the buddhi, and that is why we perceive only what the buddhi enables us to perceive. So perception of buddhi is of one kind, perception of Atma is of a different kind. Okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.